Good evening. My name is James K. Holder II. Some of you may know me as Sir James II, and I'd like to welcome you back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm just coming with a little bit of a production update and just some notes on some things that happened throughout the week. I typically would air 3 episodes a week. That's what I've been trying to do on the past schedule for the last 6 weeks. I have done a really good job of doing that. This week, a lot of stuff happened that just didn't enable me to be productive in that way. So I kind of want to talk about what happened this week and then where we're going to move forward going ahead. And it's always good just because people who really watch the channel know that this is all sort of an experience that we're all sort of doing. I see this more as building a community, and I try to lead the dialogue on food discussion through food access, and also just through conversations about things that happen in our society as they are generally not reflected on people of color, women, LGBT, disabled people, you name it. And so that's what this whole channel is about, but I want to kind of talk about this week. So, well, briefly I want to talk about what's going on in the world first, because I know that's what some of y'all watch. The 2 big things happening now in Georgia. Obviously, there's a lot going on the larger stage, but in Georgia, obviously the governor's race is kicking up. The primary vote is going to happen on May 22nd, and that's not even 10 days away. So we need to be sort of looking forward to that and really being engaged. A lot of the rhetoric and just the racism that's being thrown around on the Democratic side is what you typically expect in a Georgia race. It wasn't so bad in the Georgia 06 race, but it was really bad in the mayoral race in Atlanta, and now it's just as bad, if not worse, in the governor's race. And so the episode of Not on My Watch that I wanted to air yesterday but couldn't, I really wanted to talk just about that. So look forward to a special episode of Not on My Watch covering what I've seen in the Georgia governor's race. And there might be a couple new developments over the weekend with that race anyway. And so it might be better that that episode gets taped like Monday or Tuesday and then aired, because I always want to have the most up-to-date information when we're talking about a vote that's coming up within the week, because we're going to see a lot of stuff shifting in the next couple of days. And then also this story about the 65-year-old woman in Alpharetta. I mean, this is like really one of the worst stories I've seen in a while. And thankfully, she is okay now. But the officer in this situation, she was pulled over. I believe she was a Lyft driver. And the officer pulled her over, told her to get out of the car. They eventually arrested her. She has diabetes and hypertension. They took her to 2 separate jails. They never gave her her medication. She asked for it. It's kind of like they really did just about everything to almost kill this 65-year-old woman. And, you know, it's really just a heartbreaking story. So I will post the link in this video just so you can follow that. Now back to the productions here. So we kind of talked about what we would cover on Not on My Watch. The Weekend 10 would have discussed things like that. There's some other big stories going on in the week, but, you know, you're not missing much there. But the counter specifically, forgive my knee if it's a little bit shiny. I just lotioned up because I had a little cut out there. But it's probably glistening because I didn't want to have ashy knees on this video. But anyway, so where we are with the counter is that season 1 was a very ambitious undertaking. And I wanted to do 12 episodes for season 1. Ended up doing 5 full episodes with recipes and 1 carryover episode for the season 1. So I'm going to continue. Season 2 is going to be 6 to 8 episodes, and I'm going to actually treat that as a continuation of season 1, but it will be labeled season 2. So that's one thing I wanted to clear up. The other thing is that I really just wasn't happy with some of the quality of the production level for season 1. When it came to lighting, it was very difficult because by the time I started taping the episodes, we were on the other side of the equinox. The other side of the summer solstice. And therefore, we were losing sunlight with every taping to the point where the later episodes were just so dark in the kitchen that we weren't really able to get good tapings. And I used lighting, studio lighting here, when I tape all the other shows, but just because of the way the kitchen is set up and the heights of things, it's really almost impossible to get a good taping with studio lights. You really just need to have natural light coming in. And so that's one thing. Production is scheduled to really pick back up on season 2 at the end of this month, except that I just ran into a situation with this refrigerator. Now, I want to talk about this refrigerator for a little while, just so y'all don't think I'm janky or I don't know what I'm doing or I'm crazy. So, devotees will know that I had a different refrigerator before I started taping season 1 of The Counter. So it was a black, just basic refrigerator. It worked fine. It was a little bit too loud. It was a little bit too wide. It was a little bit too short. So it really just wouldn't have worked in the tapings for the show. And so I ended up putting together a lot of basically my own resources to buy this new refrigerator. I'm not even going to mention the company I bought it from, but it was a really good deal. It was a 4th of July sale deal on this refrigerator. Bought the extended warranty and everything to use it for taping in the show, primarily, because I already had a refrigerator that worked in my home. So that being said, it goes on. The refrigerator's been fine this whole time. Within the last 2 weeks, it just stopped working pretty much altogether. It works intermittently, but it stopped working to the point where it was a great inconvenience. I had to cancel multiple tapings of The Counter as far as demo purposes and things that were gearing up to season 2 because of the malfunctioning refrigerator. I've already backloaded a few episodes and demos. So I have episodes that I'm taping and or that I'm editing now to put out in sequence, but I feel like I want to have a really grounded understanding of when I'll be able to pick up production before I start releasing things, because I really know that no matter how good the quality of the episodes are, if I don't release them in strings, like if I'm not releasing a new video basically every week, then it's all for nothing, because it's not going to really generate the type of support that I really need it to generate in order to keep the show going. And so the shows are going to be, The Counter is going to be sort of stalled until further notice. I don't expect that my overall production schedule is going to be adjusted because of this, but I will tell you that I've been working with GE's customer service department, and I have been more than dissatisfied with the service I've gotten from this company, to the point where it has been 2 weeks that I've gone without a working refrigerator, and GE has done very little to solve this problem. I have had scheduled appointments with service people to come either repair or work on the refrigerator, who just were complete no-shows. So you're talking about, I cleared out a day of my schedule to wait for a service person with a 5-hour window, and just no one showed up. I've had them scheduled with companies that I followed up with the company, and then the company later told me that they have no contract with GE. They don't do work on appliances. I mean, it is just the worst type of service I've ever gotten from a company in my life. Now, I will say I'm working with them. I'm still at the table with them. I have not decided to move outside of the forum that they offer in terms of holding up their manufacturer's warranty, because it's just, for me, I can't afford to buy another refrigerator to produce this show. It doesn't make sense. I've already done that once. I can't really do it again. And it's not that I don't have access to a replacement refrigerator. It's just that I don't have one that serves dual purposes of a functioning refrigerator and one that would be suitable to tape in the show. And so that is where I'm trying to find a resolution with this company, so that I can just kind of go on about my life and the production schedule. And I will say that I've had to, again, schedule multiple appointments and bookings, phone calls, long extended phone calls, repeatedly explaining what is happening with the situation with these GE people. And so it's kind of exhausted me to the point, because I'm the type of person, when I call you with a customer service complaint, I want to have all my notes, my ducks in a row. I want to be respectful of your time. I expect you to be respectful of my time. And honestly, when you're dealing with borderline just disrespectful service, it takes me a lot of energy to sit down and really concert my efforts, so that I'm not on the phone cussing somebody out because they pissed me off. And really, they almost took me there today. Ruby at GE, I wasn't gonna have a conversation with you because the level of just disdain and disinterest you showed in my case, for me, I didn't even owe you the time of a conversation. And that's why I had to demand that you put me on the phone with someone else. And of course, Ruby gives me the spiel about how there's no one above her at the call center. And I just was like, it's not about talking to someone who's above you. I just want to talk to someone else. Because of all, now mind you, over this time, I've called this company at least 7 times. Now, what I will say about the GE techs, the people who take the phone calls at the consumer advocacy group, every one of them took the time to ask me to politely hold for 2 to 3 minutes for them to review all the notes in the case before they even asked how they could help me, just so they could be familiar with it. Ruby was the only one who didn't do this. So when I call after 2 weeks and Ruby tells me it's nothing she can do, I just wasn't interested in having a conversation with Miss Ruby. So that was why Ruby got cut off, and I had to ask to talk to somebody else. Because what I don't do is I don't do disrespect. Not after I've done paid you and been patient with you and respectful of you and your time, I will not have my time disrespected by anybody. And so that was why Ruby had to get the axe. But hopefully Ruby learned a lesson. What's the guy's name? Omar. Omar was the tech who came out and on Monday who serviced the refrigerator by reducing the temperature on the thermostat by 1 degree, because that was apparently the training that he had been given by GE. And that's not satisfactory service because obviously that didn't solve the problem. So when Omar came back out the next time, I was very appreciative that Omar had learned something from how he treated me on Monday in disregarding everything that I said was wrong with the refrigerator, and actually took the time to find the problem with their malfunctioning shoddy device. So thank you, Omar, for learning. Hopefully you can have a little powwow with Ruby and teach her so she learns something about service like you learned this week. As of right now, I don't expect that GE will have this problem resolved with my refrigerator within the next 2 weeks. I have no confidence in GE at this point. So I can't for certain tell you when this production will pick back up. But I do want to talk briefly about some of the things that we're doing moving forward. So in addition to a functioning refrigerator before I can resume taping, I also need another microphone. Microphones are incredibly expensive for anyone who knows. And so I really have the need for another set like the one I use here. It's a digital lav mic, UHF something. There's some type of, I need that type of microphone. I already have 2 of them, but in order to do mic schemes where I have 2 clear inputs with 2 mic'd guests, I need another microphone. So that's something else that I'm putting in to the works, and hopefully I'll be able to get that, secure that to start taping soon. I have my first taping for one episode for season 2 of The Counter is already taped. We taped that in February or March, and there was a mic issue with that episode to the point where the episode is salvageable, but I just wasn't really comfortable taping more episodes until we started getting the mic situation under control. And so, like I said, mics are very expensive, and so it has taken me 3 weeks, really 2 months, really 2.5 months to get to the point where I can even foresee getting enough microphones to resolve that issue. So I'm hoping to have that resolved by the end of the month. If anyone wants support with a microphone, that would be great. Or if you have a microphone system that you can loan me for 2 months while we tape the show, and I can send that back, that would be very helpful. Also, if anyone has a mini fridge that they can loan me for a month, that could be helpful. I don't know. We'll see. In the interim, I will be working on a series. I kind of put a poll out on my Twitter account today that was about what types of food access issues would we want to see covered in terms of having a limited kitchen. And that was one of the issues that sort of more swept under the rug with food access. we talk about food deserts on the show a lot. We talk about sodium intake. We talk about like living in communities where there isn't access to fresh groceries or really fresh to order foods, and you only have like sort of deep fried fast food options. But the limited kitchen scarcity issue is one that I think faces a lot of challenges a lot of families globally. So you're talking about houses that don't have running water or temporarily don't have running water. We're talking about if you don't have an oven for some reason, or if you, let's say you live in a dorm or you live in an army base or something and you only have like a toaster oven or a microwave, how are you making healthy meals for yourself? I won't be doing anything that requires a microwave on the show because I don't really subscribe to microwave cookery, but as far as like appliance cooking, that's certainly something I'd like to delve into. Recipes that don't require refrigeration, I've already started on a series for that. So if you follow me on Twitter, I am at Not On My Watch TV, and you can go there and there's a poll. It should be within like the last 5 tweets on my page, and you can just answer to the poll. I put out a list of options of things that you could request that I talk about in this series, and that that poll is going to be open until about 7 p.m. This Saturday. So go on there and just respond to the poll, and then I'll do a series, maybe 3 to 5 parts, discussing what like methods of cooking if you don't have a refrigerator, or methods of cooking if you don't have running water, or methods of cooking if you don't have a full refrigerator, full kitchen, like an oven. Because I think that's something that a lot of people might face or might experience, even if it's for a temporary situation that generally doesn't get discussed in food television at all. So that is what you can look forward to. I will definitely have an episode of Not On My Watch that discusses the Georgia governor's race next week, because that's the week preceding the gubernatorial primary. As far as episodes of The Weekend 10, there won't be one this week. There might be one next week. There probably will not be an episode of The Counter next week. And that's just because all of the chaos and kerfuffle with the refrigerator, it really does impact pretty much everything in this live work space. So I thank you all for being patient. I thank you all for being supportive. I thank everyone who donated this week. I don't have your names queued up, so I will definitely make sure that I thank you in the next episode of Not On My Watch. But if you'd like to support, and specifically, I really need help with the budget for The Counter. I'm thinking, take the microphone out of it, take the refrigerator situation out of it. I need about $1,500 in sponsorship to do the 6 episodes left to tape for season 2. So if anyone wants to support with $1, $2, $5, $100 gets your name on the credits for all the episodes in season 2. So I really hope, if you're interested in the series, if you like what we do with that particular show, I hope you'll help us put those on as we continue to move forward and flesh out the channel with content. So I thank you for watching today. I hope you'll continue to tune in for future episodes of all 3 of the shows featured on this channel, including Not On My Watch, The Counter, and The Weekend 10. As always, I'd like to ask you to relax, relate, and resist. Thank you.